Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Hexman Homemade Performance. I hope your 2025 has been treating you well thus far. I've been busy. I've actually been making more progress on the car than I'm even capturing on video, so actually my videos are behind. But this is that part 3 with the parts list and the plans for the 65 Ford Falcon Futura. So in this video, I'm going to give a quick rundown of the parts I've been collecting for this project. I'll share more insight and detailed considerations in future videos when I get to these specific parts at the specific portions of the project. But for now, I figure I'll lay out my loose plan, so if it's something you're interested in, you can stay tuned. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due, as this is my first major project of this caliber. My father-in-law has been and will be throughout this whole project a major resource for me as he builds hot rods for a living. And my own father, since he's really the one who inspired me growing up, being in and around his all-original 1980 Corvette is really what set the tone for my love for old-school muscle cars. Ultimately, the goal for this car is to be a mean street hot rod with some old-school track car flavor. It's already got its authentic patina. Plan is to go 15-inch black steely wheels, big white wall tires, keep the full interior, front seat, back seat. Loud, choppy motor that'll turn heads at stoplights as it's just idling and be fun to listen to, cruising down the freeway. And then a 6-speed manual transmission just to ultimately give it that driver's experience. So what's in the lineup for this 65 Falcon is this zero-decked 74 351 Windsor block. It's already bored 40 over from the previous owner, which is what I really wanted to do anyway. It got pulled out, it got bored. It hasn't been rebuilt since. My original plan was to do 30 over and build a 408, but I got a steal on this and the machine work's already done. So with the Scat 9000 crank that I got, I'll find myself with a 410 stroker. For the power goals I have, I decided the cast crank should handle what I need just fine for about half the price. I just don't think I need to dedicate the dollars in this area. However, I did opt to go forged with the Scat H beam connecting rods and trick flow twisted wedge pistons. I decided to go with twisted wedge 11R 205 heads with the 56cc chambers. Folks argue back and forth on trick flow versus AFR heads. I eventually just wound up giving the twisted wedges a try because they're kind of unique and a tad cheaper. This setup should give me about a 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, give or take. I have 1.6 Scorpion Racing rockers and Howard's Racing linked lifters to allow me to run a hydraulic cam in the 74 block. I think you can go down the rabbit hole of brands, owning other brands, and what you end up with is just different markings and different prices for the exact same product. TrickFlow sells these rockers and lifters that are just rebranded Howard's or Summit Racing for a few bucks more. So I just went straight to the originals as best I could to get the quality part for the cheapest price. I have a set of Doug's stainless 1 3/4 headers made to work with the Mustang 2 suspension kit I have for it, and I'll talk about that more in a second. For cam, I got a deal I couldn't pass up for a brand new off-the-shelf TrickFlow Stage 4 242, 246, 595 lift. It sounds huge, but the small block Ford cams are really spec'd for a 302. So this being over 100 cubic inches bigger, it's gonna swallow a lot of that excitement. It'll be choppy, but actually wind up being fairly mild in this bigger engine, I think. I picked up an Edelbrock Victor Jr. intake, and I currently have a quick fuel Brawler 850 mechanical secondary carb. Fuel injection is everywhere now, and personally, I'm just not interested in it for this. It's expensive, and it's a lot more of a mess in the engine bay, and I think it's great for any number of other builds, but it would just compromise the old school heartbeat I want for this car. So for trans, I got a Tremec T56 Magnum with the 2.66 gear ratio. I got the whole kit from Modern Driveline, everything from the trans itself, the shifter, QuickTime bell housing, clutch cylinder, pedal, oil, everything. I don't know what I'm gonna do for clutch linkage just yet. I don't know if I'll have to do a hydraulic throwout bearing. I have to see how everything is lining up during mock-ups, but it should pair well with the with the 390s or 411s I'll probably do in the rear end. Just give me something that's fun to drive and gives me the options to cruise it comfortably down the freeway. So for suspension, I bought this TCI conversion kit. It's their Mustang 2 conversion kit. This is one of those parts where the Falcon differs just enough from the Mustang where this whole kit is just slightly different. I'm sure you could modify an actual Mustang 2 kit to line up with everything, but this one's specifically made for Falcons. This will eliminate the ginormous strut towers that are currently taking up a bunch of space in the engine bay and also give me a much better performing vehicle on the road. This kit ends up becoming just simple upper and lower A-arms with coilovers, and I opted for power steering. So then in the rear, it's a 4-link setup, and this kit will bolt onto an 8-inch rear end directly, but it will require welding for an 8.8 or 9-inch. That shouldn't be a big deal. I'm not exactly sure what I intend on doing for the rear end in this thing yet, but I think I'm just going to peruse and see what I can find. I think I'd be fine with an 8.8, but if I did get a really good deal on a 9-inch, how could I turn it down? But I think that's where I'll wrap up this video. I'm sure I'm missing some onesie-twosie parts here and there, but I'll cover them more specifically in future videos. So in the simplest summary, this project is looking to be a 65 Ford Falcon with a 410 cubic inch small block Ford stroker and a 6-speed manual. If that's something that interests you, then stick around and see what I can do with this thing. Until next time, thanks guys.